Hello and welcome back to the Minetrek.net game server. This will be an update for the Enterprise D build. Not too much has gone on since the last update. Go ahead and take a quick gander of what we got going on so far. This is of course the main bridge, and we'll go down the starboard side here. Here's the ready room. There's a picture over on the wall there, kind of like this one, but it's for rendering's sake. It doesn't render. Anyways, we got ourselves a little elevator or turbo lift, turbo shaft, down through. Anyways, not too much has been done. We went ahead and did an implementation, revision of the IPanic hangar concept, so that it's now a little bit more fleshed out, a little bit more centered. Looks a lot better, you know, as far as we can tell. Go through here. Yeah, this is where some machinery and stuff's going, directly under the command module of the ship. Of course, most of these walls will probably end up getting changed. Some of the stuff up here might get changed or might not. Not sure yet. Go ahead and get into the turbo lift. This is a turbo lift airlock, so they can service the ship if they need to. Let's go this way. That's just a big void. We don't want to fall in the void. Of course, this leads back up to the bridge and control module and down into the bowels of the ship. Here we go. This is what we're looking for. So yeah, a little bit going on here. We're going to have a lounge back here. This will be kind of an open area lounge, just for, you know, kicking it and stuff like that. Got a little Jeffrey stoop here that feeds into this area here for maintenance, and be a little room in here. Not sure what yet, since it's not in any of the plans. We just put it in. We extended these rooms out quite a bit. I'm sure I mentioned this before in other videos, but what do we got here? We got a sign. Oh, sensor platforms above. Anyways, some of the rooms have been labeled, so it makes it a little bit easier for us. This will be another big engineering room, which is in the plans. We get to add all this stuff. Yay for us! Score! Anyways, let's go and take the gang way down here to the next deck. Some of the deck placements, of course, you know, in order to fit them into the ship, we had to space them oddly. So some of them, as you can see here, have big spaces between them, and then like this one. But yeah, it is what it is. So anyways, let's go ahead and keep using this gangway here. There's not a lot to see as far as this goes. You can run down through here and check out stuff, but I've been working with placing these columns and stuff, trying to get them lined up so that we can go ahead and do them on down as we get time and stuff. And I wish there was a way I could turn chat off, but there's not. I have no idea what he's talking about. Anyways, come down through here and along this side here. You can get in here. You can see some of the stuff the guys have put in. Looks pretty nifty to the hangar. Looks like they're getting some of the lines set up for the pathing of, I guess, floor markers for the hangar. Looks pretty cool through here. A little bit more work done on this. We had a little bit of a snafu. I think IPanic may have fixed it, where it's two beam here, but as it gets closer to the outside, it's only single beam between these walls and not dual beam. What can you do? What can you do? Anyways, I'll show you here what happened with the IPanic. Well, it's basically this right here was originally a lift for the plans that we were using, which are the Ed Whitefire plans. This was just a parking area for the, you know, for the runabouts to park, and they could be offloaded and things like that. And this side over here was narrow, because the island itself was larger on this side than it was on this side, and that was by design. And back when I was designing the ship, designing this deck, I really wanted to center this, but I said I was going to stay true to the plans and then we'd modify it later on. Well, IPanic came through and decided, let's go ahead and put the lift here. It makes more sense than having it over there. Either way, it doesn't bother me. I mean, they're the guys that are laying out the interior for the way that they want to lay it out. So he went ahead and did this. but didn't take into account that this side was smaller. Well, M. Heller, you know, caught it and said, hey, we need to fix this or we need to revert it back to using those as the lifts. So it took me, Blue and I started working on it, and then Blue had to bow out for the night, and I continued working on it for another 8 hours. And I don't know, I believe it was in the last video I showed what we had done, and I was going to implement it into the ship proper. Well, that actually went pretty smoothly, and I did it by layers, and it only took me a couple of world edits and 1 or 2 crashes, and nothing got too screwed up that couldn't get fixed. But yeah, and it's in, and it looks pretty sweet. M. Heller did do some work. She on the next deck below, she widened out this corridor here. Look at that. Well, it's pretty nice down through here. And I think I was mentioning in the last video, this was only, it didn't have any walls. The magenta was actually the wall, and what she did is she moved it over a little bit and readjusted it. So, and that was a decision she made as a chief designer. So, and I fully support. I think it was a brilliant call. See, anyways, the runabout sits in here, really nice and tight, and then you have this room here where the runabout things are stored, and I think they'll fit under here just barely, but yeah, they will. And same thing on this side. And I'm not sure, but I thought we were going to have a transporter or something around here somewhere, but it doesn't really matter because we can put a big cargo transporter anywhere we want on this deck, and we've got plenty of room for it, so we could easily make this side over here transport. Well, actually we can't because, well, you know what, we probably could. There's nothing saying that we need a door right here. We can get rid of that door and put it over here, which I did, by the way. I did make this room a little bit bigger. And I don't know. I'll talk to Blue Phobes about it. We could even put the transporter in here, which would probably be a good spot for it to be inside of here. But then you got to go through these doors and stuff like that. I don't know. We want to add a lot of emergency transporters and auxiliary transporters and things like that. And then again, these are transporters, so I guess you really don't need one over there. Anyways, take a look through here. It looks like Blue's been pretty busy kind of updating stuff, getting stuff looking good. Sort of. Looks like he's getting the floor stuff in. It all looks really, really good. I'll show you something else that I did do. Go through here. Little room right there. Not sure what we're going to use it for. This line here got kind of borked at some point. Not really sure how it happened, but I went ahead and cleaned it and made it so that it's actually contoured now. And I tried to do the same thing with these other areas, but because there were walls up, I had to be very careful with how I did it, so it kind of is a little jagged thing. It's nothing too major. I mean, if I really wanted to go back through and tweak the hell out of it, I probably could, but I'm not going to worry about it because we have these escape pods here, so it does kind of limit a little bit of the playthrough room that we have. But overall, it doesn't look bad. I mean, it does the job that it's supposed to do. And then I went ahead over here and set up this one as well. Again, you know, it's, you know, you're limited by what you can do. And then, you know, I mean, granted, ideally this would be a flowing turn, but yeah, what can I say? Minecraft. I also set up this over here so that it's wide enough to get in there without having to do it all funky, sort of, you know, twisted wise. And move this wall so that it was in line with this over here, and give them a little bit more room out here for parking and stuff, and it looks a little bit better as far as I'm concerned. But you know, what do I know? I'm just you know, just me. But yeah, overall this hangar's looking pretty badass. So I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with it. And you know, I'm not the only one. I guess a lot of the people that have been coming on the server are happy with it. They're, oh my god, fire up my downloader, you know. But yeah, it looks like Blue's been pretty busy in here putting in details and stuff, which is pretty cool indeed. Nice thing about it is when we put all this center stuff and do all this center work, we gotta copy it out, and then we gotta mirror it, and then we gotta paste it all back in. So it's just gonna be, oh my god, it's gonna be kind of like similar to what we did with the Enterprise E, but on a larger scale. Because the Enterprise E had a whole bunch of little areas that were jotted out, and boy, that was a real nightmare. That, I think, was the one thing that took me the longest, was to make sure that when I did mirror decks and parts of the Enterprise E, that I did it in a way that allowed me to compensate for all of the additional tweaks and stuff that had to be done and considered. And I did it by deck by deck by deck. That way, there each deck got what it needed to be done without interfering with the other decks. And when it came down to the hangar and the Enterprise E, there was a layering situation that had to be accounted for, and that really that was probably the hardest of the Wii edits because it was extremely complicated. I actually literally had to do it in like a jigsaw pattern, and oh boy, was that fun. Anyways, I've been down here working actually on the ship proper, aligning these decks. And again, I think I explained that in the last video. Mostly, it just seems that at this point, why not? They're where they need to be, so I'll just go ahead and set them up in here and then copy them out if I feel like it. I did add in a corridor along this side here. I also tried to adjust it. I think I might adjust it again. I want to get this more in line here. I don't like this how it dog leg angle, not dog leg, but sort of T-bows here, kind of bends in. So I'm going to readjust this a little bit so that it's more in line with something you see like right here. It can't go that way all the way back because of the contouring of the hull right there. So it just to be a minor little adjustment. And what I did here, instead of having it go here and then the turbo lift, but the Jeffries tube go up this way, I just went ahead and put a corridor through here so that you have a corridor. Now all these rooms can be accessed from corridors, which is the main key. Same thing with back here. And this space back here can now be utilized. It's right above the impulse engine. Yeah, because it's several decks tall, so this deck here, you know, it could even be removed if need be. You know, it's just in here to take advantage of this space. But if they're working on these impulse engines and they need more room, they can easily remove this section here. That's why it's still white and white on this side. And then all they have to do is just close this corridor off. And this is a little bit wider around the side, but that's fine. And this was a Jeffries tube, but I turned it into a corridor. And as you can see, the contouring through here looks pretty good. Again, I don't know where the windows are going to be, so what it is, I just put a line along here for reference for lower decks because there's actually a corridor below us here. And this gray area can be converted into blue, and then these could be set up to be elongated crew quarters. Basically, instead of being shaped like this long, they would be shaped lengthwise this way. So I don't know how it makes everything would be to be like the shape of the crew quarters if would be longer this way all the way down here, and instead of longer this way, which is what we would do normally. But the Enterprise E is one of those builds that requires specialized attention when it comes to things, so it'll take it one step at a time, one area at a time, and if we can do it, she should be okay. I mean, I think we're going to pull it off pretty decently. At least I have my fingers crossed, because these do flow around here quite nicely, and this is deck 8. I'm right here, and now we're down to deck 9, and this is kind of where I am right now, working on deck 9. And this big open room here is 3 stories tall. I don't really recall. I have to look at the plans to see what it's actually referred to as. And these, I'm not certain, but I think these are branch lines down, or stairwells down to the next deck, and because they're located around, it's marked off as a Jeffries tube here, but when I look at the plans, I'm not really looking at this deck's plans. I'm looking at this deck's plans right now. I really don't know what that is, so I'm gonna kind of have to check that out. But if it is, you know what? Actually, I can't because it'll stop recording if I do it. So, but I'm gonna figure out what that is and figure out how the hell, you know, what to do with it. But this deck here, which is deck 10, is where most of the escape pods are for the underside of the saucer. So this is going to be a real bear to do. I kid you not, I'm not looking forward to doing this deck at all, but it shall be done. Anywho, I've been dropped in sand, and I'm debating, as I look at the plans, this actually is a turbo lift, same as this one up here is. So this will be a turbo lift, and what it'll do is it'll come down along here, and that means that this also shall be a turbo lift, same as up here. And this is one that I added in because it needed to be added in. It just needed to be there. And whoops, looks like this got covered up. Comes up to this turbo lift system here. So they're linked now, which they weren't in any of the plans. So I linked them. I made them linked, and I feel good about it. But I have been going through here, and I was dropping sand until we decided to go see Deadpool. To tell you that today is the 15th of February, and just went and saw Deadpool with friends of mine, and pretty fucking good movie. Gonna say it outright. I liked it. I don't really get off on the comic book movies, but yeah, Deadpool, it earned its R rating. It embraced its R rating. Let's just say that that double barrel grabbed that R rating. It's a good movie. I hope by the time this video comes out, most of you have been fortunate enough to go see it. And I hope you enjoy it, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty decent movie. So, anyways, as we come up here, it doesn't look like it's a well, eh. Yeah, so this right out here is a turbo lift. It comes up to here. I don't know, because if I do that, I could put the turbo lift down here, which is what I ideally should do, is put the turbo lift down here. But if I have that there, then that means I have to comp for it up here. Arg. Decisions. It drives me nuts. So, the problem with it is, if there is a turbo, which it is actually, I'm looking at the plans, there's a turbo lift that goes right along here, along this corridor, and this corridor is extra wide. It's 4 wide. I can skimp this corridor down to 3 wide, keep this one 4 wide, but I don't know, and horseshoe a turbo lift in here. But then I have to do something with up here. Now, what would I do with up here? That's the problem I'm running into. Now, I could easily shift this corridor in more, and then run the turbo lift through here on this side, and this corridor would just be in, and then I would, basically it wouldn't be a straight shot down, but then move the corridor, I don't know, and keep it over the same shape as it is for this deck, or modify this deck, move this crew corridor, this corridor over, and run the turbo lift up here like that. Well, I don't know. This is where I kind of decided, yeah, it's time to go see a movie. I'm out of beer, so let's go see a movie. But yeah, I tell you, it's pull your hair out time at some point. I'll have to figure it out, because I don't know if I want to run the turbo lift all the way up here or not, because it really doesn't link to anything, and I could easily, if I had to, put a turbo lift shaft right here, and then link it to something. I wonder. Shall we see if there's something? Yeah, no, there's a deck above us. Possibly. It would have to. Well, this corridor does get in the way. Darn it! But I could do it. I could branch it across there and then straight down. But I don't know if I'll do that. It seems like a little bit of a jump to do, and I don't know if I want to do it. So I'll figure something out. There's got to be some way or some workaround that I can use for it. Even if I have to put the turbo lift down here and make this corridor the one that jumps over, and then put the turbo lift going back up again. I don't know. Don't know. But yeah, dropping the sand and stuff. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep. I probably will keep the same deck pattern as above. Just because, I mean, some of these are kind of well placed, but overall, yeah, I don't know. So the corridor would be on this side, and then over here would be on that side. So this whole area here would be marked as crew quarters, and then this whole area to that's a good question. Should the corridor go on this side, or should it go on this side? That would make this really long, but I could run a Jeffries tube right along this corridor edge here between this side of the ship and, well, no, because then this, I don't know. I could just break this up into corridors on, or crew quarters on. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if I make it extra wide, it'll be like a crew quarter on this side, crew quarter on this side, and there's split down the center. You know, I could easily do that. I don't know. So, but yeah, the corridor has to go on this side because this is the side that is actually kind of where it's marked to be. So, yeah, I'll put the corridor on this side here. And then the corridor. Darn, I tell you, it's a tough call. It is a tough call. All these holes in the floor keep screwing with me. I also got to merge these two together. Choices, choices, choices. Now, here is a funny thing. Yes, turbolift does come around to yeah. And then this has a Jeffries tube as well, looks like. It does. So, turbolift, corridor, Jeffries tube. That'll account for the distance in here. And I might actually end up putting the corridor on this side. So it won't match up with the deck above it, but that's okay because, well, this is the Enterprise D, so things don't necessarily line up where they're supposed to, which is a real drag. But, yeah, we can work around it. I think that's what I'll do. I'll just run the, because this will be a Jeffries tube that goes all the way around through, yeah. Oh, wow, boy, that is a long Jeffries tube, isn't it? And we've been doing that actually above us. You can see there's one right there that I did that with. See you here, and is there a turbolift under here? No, but there is another Jeffries tube. Stu, yeah, gonna be fun. Fun stuff, fun stuff. I gotta fill this in, this area here in, mainly because this corridor comes along here. I could set it so it zags in, but if you see down here, it's got to be covered up because of all the stuff that's down here. So what I'll end up doing is I'll end up filling all this in. I'll finish dropping sand, figuring out where I want the corridors to go, mark out the corridors, and set up some of the other nifty doohickey stuff, and convert the sand to magenta, drop it down into the deck, and go from there. Start on deck 10. Deck 10 is going to be a big deck, so that's going to be, we're going to have to place all of the escape pods and all that nifty stuff. And I tell you, that's it's one of those things I'm not looking forward to. Now, deck 10 also has 10 forward in it. So, yeah, where's 10 forward at? 10 forward right there. There we go. Here's 10 forward. And Blue and I, we lowered the hull, as you can see, and ran it all the way forward. Otherwise, the hull was right here, right where that light, or well, the light gray and the wool start, then it's light gray again. And the reason we had to do that was because on both sets of plans there are windows right down through here, and then there are windows up here. So I also have to take out this deck and fill this whole area, and that's going to take some time. Unless I pull it out and use the MC Planner, then I have to actually do a whole bunch of other little things in order to make sure everything lines up. And because MC Planner has never been updated, it's still like Java 6, so I have to run it on a Java 6 instance. I can't run it with Java 8. It just doesn't want to work, which is a shame because it's a good program. It really is. If somebody had updated that so it was modern Minecraft, uses the modern blocks and stuff, would be an absolute godsend, in my opinion. But anywho, I do appreciate you taking time to watch. Again, this is the Minetrek.net game server. And, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's long-winded, always are. I talk a lot. Sometimes people just turn it off. Fingernails on the chalkboard, that sort of thing. But even if you did listen, and would you hit that like button for me, because it does help the video, it does help the channel, it does help the, you know, Minetrek. That's what we want to do. We want to help Minetrek. We want to keep Minetrek going. At least until we get done with the Enterprise D, then who knows what the hell will happen. But yeah, we want Minetrek to stay alive. Please, please hit that like button. And also, please visit us on Facebook. And with that, have a great one. Bye-bye.